Welcome back everyone to Astro, a multiplayer first-person shooter set in zero gravity. It's been 5 months since the last devlog, so you're probably wondering, what was I doing in all that time? Well, the previous build of the game was feeling great in terms of mechanics, but it just looked a little bit stale. The art was definitely lacking, and so I decided that I had to learn 3D modeling. I thought this would be easy, right? Just add a few triangles, mix in some textures, boom. In reality, yeah, I realized that this is something that I just couldn't learn overnight, and so I decided to actually do things the right way and start from the beginning. I followed the classic donut tutorial that everyone learning how to 3D model in Blender needs to start with, and then I upgraded to some cake. And yeah, these look pretty crappy, but then by the third model, I already was making this giraffe, which honestly looks pretty fire. And I even ended up rigging this thing, so I was pretty happy with my progress. Then I went to hard surface because obviously the game is sci-fi, so it's gonna have all hard surface art. So I started just making random bits and pieces of sci-fi gears and stuff like that. And I also started making a character, made a couple different character concepts. And I never really fully finished any of them, but I learned how to sculpt, which was cool. And I also started to dabble into texturing and shading. So fast forward to Christmas break, and I'm finally ready to start doing art for Astro. In order to assist my efforts, I built a PC. Now, my old computer, while she served me well, just simply couldn't handle non-destructive modeling, sculpting, and real-time shading, so I had to make the switch. My new computer, however, is an absolute beast. This bad boy has an RTX 3080, an i7-13700K, and 64 gigabytes of RAM. Which, yes, by the way, I do need all 64 gigabytes. When I'm running Rider, Unreal Engine, Visual Studio, Blender, Discord, GitHub, Visual Studio Code, Unreal Insights, and like 30 plus Chrome tabs all at once, I really do hit the true potential of my RAM, so I'm so happy I made that decision. Now, the first thing we started to do was block out a new map. I say we because over break my brothers also started to help me modeling and help me with the game design and stuff like that. We knew that pretty much anything would be better than the last map, but we still put considerable thought into the metrics and the flow of the map to just make the whole thing play smoothly. After the blockout felt solid, we got into the weeds of modeling every single little panel and prop, and it had to be meticulously designed to make this absolute behemoth. After every single part was modeled and shaded, we put it through my new PC to render out the final result. Welcome to Station. But the real question was, how would it hold up in game? I still had a lot of work to do getting the map into Unreal Engine, and this process alone took several days. I also had to learn Blender scripting so that I could make some Python tools to batch bake textures, which would improve performance in game. After finally getting everything in the engine and fiddling around with the render options for way too long, the map was playable. Not only was it playable, but it honestly looked amazing. I was really skeptical that the Blender render would be a promise that Unreal Engine's graphics simply couldn't keep, but it actually looks really close in game to the render that I just showed you guys. On top of this, it's even more performant than the old game. On my new PC, it gets over 500 FPS, which I know isn't really saying much, but on my crummy laptop, it still pulls 60 frames and even peaks at 100 FPS sometimes. So increased graphics and performance is a win-win. So making a new map was part of my overarching plans for V3 to increase the fidelity and content of the game. If you haven't seen my previous devlogs, I'm sectioning my progress into major versions. V1 and V2 were all about extreme prototyping, and I was kind of getting out the feel of what the game was going to be like. Currently, V3 is about fleshing out the content of the game. I have big plans for the next coming months as I finish out V3, and I want to make more frequent devlogs as well. My next step is going to be starting the first character for Astro. This will be a difficult task since I have to pick skeleton conventions and really work out my animation system. But after the first character, adding new models should be easy. So after that, I want to add 3 new weapons, which are going to have like the full networking, particle effects, sound, UI, and everything. And then I want to work out all the networking bugs that I've kind of been incurring over the past couple months. And after that, I think I'll be ready to move on to V4. And V4 will be super exciting because we're going to start pre-alpha testing and actually getting Astro onto Amazon Web Service servers so that even you guys can get in on the playtesting. So that'll be awesome. So that's what I've been doing all this time. I hope you like the new map, and for those of you who stayed to the end of the video, here's a sneak peek of the first Astro character. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next devlog. Peace.
Was that you?
Well, I'm not responding.
Oh my god.
Dude, look at my you like.
Okay, fine.
I'm 100% just
You're on task, man.
What?
Are you in?
What?
Alright, you can join.
What is it?
What?
Bro, just hit up. Oh,
Dude, just hit.
Where are you?
he needs to get the IP.
The hell are you? Oh, dang.
Alright.
That's my bad.